How's it going, my true people? Dr. Slacking, the Slacking Doctor, back with the team builder for the PGBL Week 3 as your Bolan Bovines go up against Marolt and his Slovenia Slowbros. Now, this battle was done a little while ago. I'm recording this a little bit later than I like to record the team builders. And I want to begin by apologizing because the lighting is shocking. It's very dark right now. I've got a lamp on behind me, which you can see there. And I have a lamp on in front of me here, which you can't see. I basically broke my actual light today, so yeah, that's not good. I stretched, whacked the light, and it all fell out of this. In fact, you can see it. You can see right there. That's my light. That's usually in the ceiling. It's now hanging a foot down from the ceiling. It's no longer in the ceiling, so we don't have proper lighting. I don't know, it's kind of like mood lighting, you know. It's kind of, if I had a nice voice, we could turn this into like an ASMR video. Sadly, I have a horrible voice, so we can't. But moving on, let's actually talk about Marolt's team. Like I said, this is recorded a little bit afterwards, and yeah, I'm gonna perhaps be kind of rediscovering the team along with you guys here, but we can have a look. We can have a go. So this is Marolt's team, his draft: the Slovenia Slowbros with Tornadus Therium with the Z user, Weavile, Stakataka, Zero Aura with the Z user, Celebi, Tentacle, Beware, Fortress, Palace, and Slurpuff, Mega Charizard X. Now, there are some things that are a little bit broken here that we missed. So, for example, Slurpuff, tier 5. What? I think Slurpuff is terrible, don't get me wrong, but tier 5, busted. Like, that thing should never be a tier 5, but we just missed it. We all overlooked it during when we reviewed the tiers and stuff, myself included, so yeah, this man got a tier 5 Slurpuff, and most of us didn't even realize it was in tier 5 until he drafted it, because I would never even consider it. I think it's terrible. However, in tier 5, I might have considered it. But anyway, by the by, other than that, his team's pretty solid. Taunty, very scary Z user, or a very scary Z user. He's got some low-key threats like Beware. Celebi, I think people underestimate offensively, like Nasty Plot sets. And then, of course, he's got the major threats like Weavile and Charizard X on there too. Palasan, in my opinion, is one of the best actual tier 5s in the format. I love that thing. And Tentacle, fairly reliable spinner, along with Fortress 2 as a hazard setter. So yeah, definitely a bit of an issue. Stack Attacker he brought in for Mandibuzz. I do think Mandibuzz overall is like a better mon, but yeah, I mean, Stack Attack is a threat and we have to prep for it. And we nearly didn't, because we nearly didn't know he had it. But last minute, we changed up the prep slightly to make sure we could handle Stack Attacker. So, moving on to our first mon on the team here. One thing you may notice is that he's incredibly weak to one of our recent trades in Lupin the Third. If you look at this team, Tornadus, SL Rock, Weavile, SL Rock, Stack Attacker, Drill Run, Zero Aura, alright, Drill Run, but we do probably need to get some chip off on that. Celebi, Sucker Punch, Tentacle, Drill Run, Beware, that thing could be annoying too. I'm sorry, I'm getting so notifications coming through as I'm trying to talk to you. Beware, yeah, we need chip off on that, to be fair. Fortress, Firefang, Palisand, Sucker Punch, Slash, a little bit of chip on that. Slurpuff, SLRock's going to do a lot. Mega Charizard X, SLRock. So basically there's what? 1, 2... 3 of his main offensive threats in Torn, Weavile, and Charizard are all weak to rock priority, and then he's got a couple of ground weaknesses and a flying and a dark weakness as well on his offensive core. So in general, I feel like this thing's priority, double priority and Rock plus Sucker Punch, rips him. As a late game cleaner / revenge killer, it looks incredible. Now, the reason I prefer it as a late game cleaner rather than a revenge killer is because things like Palisand and Beware do come in on a Cell Rock very easily. So what I don't want is select Mega Charizard X, Dragon Dance once, claim 1 KO, switch out on the Cell Rock into Beware or Palisand, and then just come back in and do the same thing. That loses me a lot of momentum. So I need to find more efficient ways of revenge killing those mons / not letting them claim kills. But as a late game cleaner, this thing beats his offense. If I can just break down his fat, he doesn't have offensive win cons while this thing's in the back. They just don't exist for him. So that is phenomenal in this matchup. Phenomenal. All we've got to do is figure out ways to break down that fat, specifically really the Palisand, the Beware, and to some extent the Fortress and stuff like that a little bit too. So next up, we have Hearts, the Nidoqueen. This thing basically just shuts down Zero Aura. Zero Aura is a threat. Its speed tier is phenomenal. It's very, I think, I was going to say very underrated mon, but I actually think right now, my perception of it is that Zero Aura is probably the most fashionable mon in draft. I remember back when I was playing IBL D-League, I was talking about how Greninja was, and how everyone was drafting Greninja early. A lot of people were saying it should be a tier 2. A lot of people still think that. I think that Greninja is out of vogue now, and I feel like Zero Aura is the in mon. It's the mon that everybody's raving about, everybody wants to pick up. I really think his popularity has grown exponentially recently. He took it in round 1 in this draft, so I mean that shows you how popular it's becoming. I do think it's overrated, I'll be honest, but I think it's very, very good and very, very scary, so we need to bring something for it. Like I said, it's a thing that Lycanroc does kind of struggle with, because I don't want to take a close combat from it, or even a Plasma Fist from it, and I'm not going to be able to OHKO as a Cell Rock in any world, and it is relatively bulky, so I do need to get some chip off, and I do need to make sure I have a good switch in. So here we have Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen can come in on that pretty comfortably. We're running the Life Orb because I want this team to be an offensive build. This thing is really, really fast with the Life Orb on there. Hopefully we can catch out like a slow Celebi and a slow Tentacruel. If he doesn't speed creep Nidoqueen because he thinks, well, Nidoqueen will be fat, I don't need to speed creep that, then maybe we can catch them out and hit them with our 2 stabs there in Sludge Wave and Earth Power. That's kind of the hope. It's also a pretty good revenge killer to Beware, and it can actually switch in on Beware and take 1, potentially 2, as well as maybe dealing with Stack Attack a little bit if I can come in on a Stone Edge or something like that and threaten that thing out. Obviously Weavile does threaten me, but as long as I can switch into Weavile, then this thing should be able to claim at least 1 KO in this game, and potentially can be positioned really, really well. Its speed tier isn't phenomenal, it just depends on how he's speed creeping. Thunderbolt plus Ice Beam, Bolt Beam coverage is good in almost every matchup, but specifically here, it's really nice for like Taunty, Tentacruel obviously, but you know, if you don't want to make predictions or whatever. Palossand with the Ice Beam. I don't know why I needed Thunderbolt though, as well as Ice Beam. I don't know. I could have had T-Spikes. I feel like I don't need... Am I missing something? Shuka Tentacruel? Yeah, I don't know why I needed Thunderbolt, honestly. Did I change it before I genned it? I don't think I did. I don't know. Right, we got Thunderbolt anyway. I don't know why we need it, but we've got it. We've got it. We've got it. It's fine. Then we have Cairo here, because like I said, I need to be able to switch in on that Weavile. It does threaten out my Nidoqueen all the time, and it is a little bit of a threat to my team. Yes, I can just Cell Rock it very easily, but it is still a little bit of a threat. I don't want to just claim KOs and the Lycanroc to have to come into Revenge Killer, like I've said. I don't want to use Lycanroc as a Revenge Killer, I want to use it as a late game cleaner, so that means that I've got to stop the things that Lycanroc only can Revenge Kill from getting kills, so I'm never coming in to revenge them. Does that make sense? If I have a switch into these things, then I'm not revenge killing them, I'm forcing them out for the late game when I can pick them off with as a cleaner Lycanroc. I'm hoping that I'm articulating this properly. So this thing is basically designed to come in on Weavile. He's always got Sophia, the kind of giving me a justified boost, so I don't think he'll ever go for the dark moves. However, we are Steelium, so it's not like he can knock us off. We aren't actually running justified, we're running Steadfast, I think, so that he can't... Is it Steadfast that gives you a speed boost? So that if he flinches me with the Icicle Crash, basically, I get the speed boost and will then outspeed him next turn. And basically, the speed boost, this thing goes crazy against his team. His only switch into my Dual Stab is Tentacruel, and Tentacruel has no reliable recovery. So if I can wear... Especially, like, it doesn't have Z-Haze or anything like that. So... if I can wear that thing down, if I can get hazards up, if I can chip it down, keep forcing it into spin all the time and stuff like that, then I can potentially just break down his whole team with Cairo here. Vacuum Wave is really, really nice for picking off the Weavile, as I've said, if I don't want to predict, or if he thinks, alright, I can beat him 1v1 now, I've worn him down after 2 or 3 switch-ins. This thing is like nearly max HP, it's pretty bulky, so that's pretty cool. But we're also just modest to get as much damage off as possible. Steelium Z will chunk down the Tentacruel. If he wants to go into like Celebi, for example, it will hurt that severely, and the same as Tornadus T if he doesn't bring the Tentacruel. So yeah, in general, this thing is just a really good breaker. Yeah, something like Spedef Fortress could take it on reasonably well, but that's also nasty plot setup bait, so you know, I don't mind that too much. In general, this thing, like I say, the Charizard does also kind of wall it before it Mega Evolves, but once it's Mega Evolves, it doesn't want to take a modest Aura Sphere, so especially not if I'm at +2. So this thing's really just designed to be a breaker and to make sure that Weavile does not get out of hand. Next up on the team, we have Pedro, another one that brings in Weavile, which makes it even more important. But with a Discharge on here, we can potentially snag a Power on Weavile, which could be huge. We can also wear down things like the Beware, which we can come in on there on his Fighting Stab. Toxic on here, so that we can stop like a Charizard from getting too crazy out of hand, but specifically for that Palossand. The idea of this set, why am I running Roost, why am I running Defog? The idea of this set is to try and capitalize on Palossand. If I can lead off and hopefully catch the Palossand or bring this thing in on Palossand, I get a free sub, as a Palossand probably goes for a Toxic. We have enough Spadef investment to always, from an uninvested Palossand, to always take a Shadow Ball and not have a sub broken. And from that point, we're free to spread around Toxic and really, really wear down that Palossand for our late game Lycanroc. Like I said, I do feel like that's really, really huge. And also, I will say that Lucario can help with that. If he wants to predict Fighting Stab and go into the Palossand as well, just like with the Celebi and the Tornadus, then I can really pressure it there too with the Steelium Z. So yeah, this thing can just hopefully abuse Palisand, hopefully get a sub up, spreads Toxic around, spreads Power around with Discharge plus Static, and just whirlwind things out so that the Charizard can't get out of hand. I do think that the Tornadus and the Charizard, both of those specifically, have a potential to be sub-toxic, because I did see that in some mocks. Huge shout out to Aquarius for mocking with me, because of their speed tier and the coverage that they kind of need against my team. Both of them could really do a sub-toxic set very, very effectively, so Whirlwind could just be huge. I mean, sub-Dragon Dance abuses the hell out of Zapdos if you don't run Whirlwind, so even if it's not sub-toxic, if it's sub-Dragon Dance, Flare Blitz, Earthquake, for example, that would scare my team massively, and at least this stops that. I can Whirlwind him out if he wants to sub up on me. Otherwise, Zapdos just doesn't touch Charizard. It is just set up bait unless you get a lucky Discharge slash Static Para. So, yeah, it's a bit much that. Moving on to the fifth member of the team, we have Spotlight the Diancie, which of course helps out with the Mega Charizard, but actually that's not what this is on the team for primarily. This thing is a very, very speedy, like very offensive Diancie. I think modest, nearly max speed, nearly max special attack, and the idea being that we can basically outrun any bulky Bewares, and we can revenge kill them really well with a Moonblast. If you look at his team, his only real fairy resists are Tentacruel and Stack Attacker. Charizard before it Mega Evolves, sure, but that's not a Diancie switch in. And Stack Attacker we will outrun as well, and we will bop with an Earth Power. And Tentacruel, like I said, I want to chip that thing down too. I really want to bring that in as much as possible to wear it down so that Lucario can break better, but also because that is another thing that we do need some chip on for Lycanroc. So yeah, I just really feel like this is a good way of doing that. And with the Rocky Helmet on here, crucially, we can pivot in on Beware. Not only get like outrun it and potentially kill it if it wants to stay in, but we can just get a little bit of chip with Rocky Helmet, and honestly, it's all going to add up. That's how much I just want chip in this game. I'm willing to just throw something with a Rocky Helmet out and just be like, give me 12% here, give me 12% there, and, you know, just do that. This is still a really good wall breaker against this team. Not only is it good at getting rocks up, but actually, if you look at his team, if the Fortress wants to come into Rapid Spin on me, then I can HP Fire it. If the Tentacruel wants to come in a Rapid Spin on me, I can potentially Earth Power it. So, yeah, this thing really does wall break pretty well against this team. He doesn't switch in very well. The Celebi is probably his main revenge killer, and we've already shown that we have, like, Lucario and Zapdos that really don't mind Celebi coming in and clicking Grass Stab. And the final man on the team also does not mind an Aya Papa Berry Scissor. This thing is really bulky, like I've run in recent weeks. Basically, just with Dual Stab, I'm able to get a ton of momentum against this team. I can come in on something like the Weavile locked into an Ice Move if we see that it's Choice locked. I can come into on the Beware potentially as well and just pivot out if I need to, but I don't really want to do that. I can defog on the Fortress, which could be really, really clutch to stop that thing from hazard stacking me. I can defog on the Palisand, and if he wants to stay in, I can also get a Toxic off on him, which could be huge as well, like I said, for wearing that thing down. And of course, Bullet Punch is just nice for Weavile and stuff like that as well. So yeah, in general, this thing really is meant to be my Celebi pivot. It's supposed to come in on Celebi every single time and click U-turn and pivot out every single time. If he isn't running HP Fire, which I think he might struggle to do, then we're going to be in a really, really good spot. So, yeah, that is the team that we're bringing. It's all built around Lycanroc on its debut, cleaning for us in the late game. Like I said, in the trades video, if you saw that, I have used Lycanroc Day once before, and I thought it was terrible. So, this is really Lycanroc Dusk's chance to prove to me that it's good, because we've built the whole team around just winning with it in the late game. So let's see if it pays off. Let's see if it repays my faith, having traded it in and believing that it's so much better than its counterpart. Only time will tell. Regardless, I hope you guys are hyped for the battle tomorrow. I can say it is a very, very good battle. Of course, it has already happened. Yeah, pretty good one. So thank you so much for loafing around with me, and I'll catch you again next time.